Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking something that usually feels like a massive bureaucratic headache, getting your Kansas tax registration, and turning it into a clear, totally manageable advantage for your business. I'm really thrilled to be guiding you through this material, so let's just dive right in.
So, are you ready to take your Kansas business to the next level? By becoming fully tax compliant, you're not just checking a legal box. You instantly elevate your business's credibility. It literally takes you from, say, a casual side hustle to a legally recognized, trusted retailer.
All right, here is our 6-step agenda for today's journey. First, an introduction to the permit in Kansas. Then, understanding sales tax requirements. Preparing for the application, the step-by-step application process itself, post-application procedures, and finally, some additional tips and best practices. Okay, Section 1. Introduction to the sales tax permit in Kansas.
So, what actually is this thing? Well, a Kansas sales tax permit is an official registration issued by the Kansas Department of Revenue. Basically, it legally authorizes your business to collect and remit Kansas sales tax. Under state statute, every single retailer absolutely must hold this registration before making any retail sales. Just think of it as your legal green light to operate. And honestly, this isn't just a bureaucratic chore. Sure, it ensures strict legal compliance and, shields you from those brutal audits or back taxes. But beyond that, holding this permit builds immediate trust with your customers and totally streamlines your financial management right from day one. It really is a foundational step for growth.
Moving right along to Section 2, Understanding Sales Tax Requirements.
Now, the crucial trigger for tax obligation here is a concept called nexus, which is just a fancy term for a legal connection to the state. If you have a physical storefront, a warehouse, or even employees physically located in Kansas, you've got what's called a physical nexus. But what if you're entirely out of state? Well, then you might fall under an economic nexus as a remote seller.
If you are a remote seller, your magic number is exactly $100,000. You absolutely must register if your gross sales to Kansas customers cross that $100,000 threshold annually, either in the current or the previous calendar year. And actually, Kansas keeps this pretty simple. Hitting that revenue number alone triggers your obligation. There are no separate transaction count thresholds to stress about. So, whether you're running a local restaurant, scaling an e-commerce empire, or just setting up a weekend craft booth, the Department of Revenue requires you to register if you hit those physical or economic criteria we just talked about. All right, Section 3, Preparing for the Application.
Okay, before you even touch your keyboard to apply, you're going to want to gather these essentials so you don't run into frustrating system timeouts. You'll need your entity identity, like an EIN or your social security number, and your exact legal business name. You need to know your legal structure too, like if you're an LLC or a sole proprietor. Also, you have to identify the responsible party, meaning the specific people legally on the hook for the taxes, including their names, titles, and SSNs. Finally, have a rough estimate of your monthly Kansas sales handy, because that determines your filing frequency.
Oh, and you'll also be asked for a NAICS code. Please don't let the government alphabet soup intimidate you here. The North American Industry Classification System code is literally just a standard number that officially describes your primary business activity to the state. That's it.
Next up, Section 4, the step-by-step application process. First things first, you have to choose your method. While doing this online is vastly preferred, if you are a paper filer, you'll need Form CR16 for the main application. And if you happen to be registering multiple physical storefronts, you'll also need to grab Form CR17 to list out those additional locations. But the absolute fastest route is online. Step 1, create an account on the KDOR Customer Service Center website. Step 2, fill out the online application using that checklist we just built together. Step 3, hit submit. And hey, here's a surprising and very welcome fact for any business owner. It costs absolutely $0 to register. It's totally free. Then, step 4, just wait to receive your official account number. Now, I cannot stress this next point enough, guys. Accuracy is absolutely critical here. Entering the wrong EIN or messing up the responsible party details are the most common mistakes people make, and they will misroute your account and seriously delay your approval. So, measure twice, cut once.
Okay, Section 5, Post-Application Procedures.
Here is your realistic timeline for what happens next. Day 1. You hit submit. For the next 1 to 4 weeks, you're in the processing phase. Though, to be fair, online applications often clear in just a few days. Once you're approved, your physical certificate of registration will arrive in the mail. And this is crucial. You must display this certificate prominently, right by your cash register or your entrance, so customers know for a fact that you are operating legally.
Along with your certificate, the state will assign you a filing frequency. This is based on those estimated sales you provided earlier. Expecting over $400 in tax a month, you're going to file monthly. Between $40 and $400, that's quarterly. Under $40, you file annually. And definitely mark this on your calendar. Returns are almost always due on the 25th of the month following your reporting period.
Finally, Section 6, Additional Tips and Best Practices.
To maintain your good standing, you really need to keep these rules in mind. The baseline Kansas sales tax rate is 6.5%, but local jurisdictions can easily push that combined total up to 10%. Also, because Kansas is a destination-based state, you have to calculate the tax based on your buyer's exact ship-to location. Next up, a super vital rule. You must file a return every single period, even if you literally had 0 sales. Just file a 0 return. The good news in all this? There are no annual renewal fees required to keep your permit active.
But definitely be warned. Operating unlawfully or just failing to file triggers some severe consequences. Kansas can hit you with back taxes and a brutal late penalty of 1% per month on unpaid taxes. That is capped at a massive 24%, plus interest. Seriously, staying compliant is the absolute best way to protect your hard-earned margins.
So now that you've mastered the Kansas sales tax permit process, how will your newly streamlined compliance actually accelerate your business growth in Kansas? With all the legal groundwork perfectly laid out, you don't have to constantly look over your shoulder worrying about audits. You can focus your energy entirely on scaling.
As a final reminder, this explainer provides educational insights drawing directly from Kansas Department of Revenue source material. Always consult a licensed tax professional or legal advisor for personalized advice, especially since laws and regulations change all the time. But I want to leave you with one final thought. In a marketplace where trust is literally your most valuable currency, how will you leverage your absolute legal compliance to completely outpace the competition? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, here's to your business success.